It's another beautiful Saturday evening, and you're welcome to the program Leading Women right here on Splash 105.5 FM. Today on Leading Women, it's actually going to be a special edition to commemorate the International Zero Tolerance Day on FGM. Each year, February 6 marks the International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation. The day is observed as a way to raise awareness about female genital mutilation, FGM, and to gather enough support to end the practice. On the show this evening, I have with me Mrs. Oluwatoyin Ogedengbe. She is a member of the CPN, that's Child Protection Network, Oyo State. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me. Good evening.
Yes, what is FGM? What is female genital mutilation?
Thank you very much. FGM, female genital mutilation, according to the World Health Organization, is any procedure that involves partial or total removal of the external genital organs of the female other than for medical reasons. Total removal, partial removal, inflicting pain on the genital organs other than for medical reasons is referred to as female genital mutilation.
Now, who performs female genital mutilation?
Thank you very much. I mean, it's an age-long tradition, and usually it's performed by local circumcisers. Usually. But over the years, we've also had what we call the medicalized FGM, that, health practitioners also perform FGM.
Yes, according to WHO, that's the World Health Organization, physicians, nurses, midwives are increasingly providing FGM in place of circumcisers. What do you think could be responsible for this increase?
Yes, at some point, FGM was just referred to as circumcision, and then later cotton. One of the reasons that we're, bringing up advocacy for the eradication of FGM, one of the reasons, the fact that, the sanitary conditions under which it is performed is usually unhygienic, okay? So it got to a point where people began to feel that, okay, if the local circumcisers are not trained to be able to do it, then let's go to the medical practitioners so they can, carry out the procedure. And also some of the reasons, economic reasons, because of course, those who go through the procedure will have to make some payments.
Now, why do communities actually practice FGM?
The reasons for different communities who involve in the practice of FGM vary from location to location, but some of the reasons, about three major reasons. The very first one is the fact that it will hinder the female from being promiscuous. That's the very first reason, that it's going to help the female protect her virginity until marriage. And then there's this belief also, it's also a traditional belief where it is seen as though the woman is not created to derive sexual pleasure. It's just the man who is created to derive sexual pleasure. So it's one of the reasons it's been done. I mean, the woman should just give herself to the man, to the husband, and then whether she's enjoying the act or not, it's not the business of anyone. And another reason, which we call all of them myths, is the fact that when the woman who does not undergo FGM is about to have a child, when the child is passing through the birth canal, if the head of the child should touch the clitoris, that the child will die. So those are some of the reasons why it's being practiced.
And these reasons do not have any medical benefit.
None at all.
It's a violation to a woman or girl's right.
Yes.
Now, I would like you to actually help define FGM in Yoruba, and also why people perform FGM in Yoruba, and also let us know who is at risk of FGM.
Okay, thank you. Nǹkan tí à ń pè ní female genital mutilation, òun ni nǹkan tí a mọ̀ sí dídábẹ́ fún ọmọbìnrin. ní gbólóhùn nǹkan tí à ń pè nìyẹn dídábẹ́ fún ọmọbìnrin. Dídábẹ́ fún ọmọbìnrin ó dẹ̀ jẹ́ nǹkan tó ti wà tipẹ́tipẹ́ tí àwọn ènìyàn ti ń gbé ṣe. Ìdí tí wọ́n dẹ̀ fi ń ṣe ó pín sóríṣiríṣi, ṣùgbọ́n alákọ̀ọ́kọ́ ẹ̀ tó pa bámbárí ẹ̀ ni wípé kí ọmọbìnrin kó má bàa ṣe ṣìnà, kó má bàa ṣèṣekúṣe. Òun ni ìdí tí wọ́n fi ń dábẹ́ fún ọmọbìnrin. Ọmọbìnrin tí wọ́n dẹ̀ ń ṣe fún, a máa rí wípé wọ́n máa ń ṣe fún àwọn ọmọ míì ní àti ọmọ ọwọ́ títí di bíi ọmọ ọdún 15. Àwọn míì gan gbà tán ti dàgbà ni wọ́n máa ṣe fún wọn, wọ́n á dábẹ́ fún wọn. Òun ni nǹkan tí à ń pè ní female genital mutilation. Pé nǹkan tí wọ́n fi ń ṣe òun ni wípé wọn ò fẹ́ kí ọmọ obìnrin kó ṣèṣekúṣe, kó ṣe ṣìnà, kó rìnrìn kúrìn, wípé tí wọn ò bá dábẹ́ fún ọmọ obìnrin á máa rìn gbèrègbèrè káàkiri láti máa bọ́kùnrin sùn káàkiri. Ìdí kan pàtó tí wọ́n fi ń ṣe nìyẹn.
Who performs FGM?
Àwọn olùkọlà ni a máa ń pè wọ́n ní èdè Yorùbá. Olùkọlà tí wọ́n máa ń dábẹ́ fún àwọn ọmọ, máa ń dábẹ́ fún àwọn ọmọkùnrin náà, wọ́n máa ń dábẹ́ fún ọmọbìnrin náà. So wọ́n máa ń gbé wọn lọ bá wọn ni. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wọn kì í ṣe ẹni tó jẹ́ pé ó kàwé gboyè pé a di oníṣègùn tòyìnbó, ṣùgbọ́n lábẹ́ ilé ó dẹ̀ jẹ́ wípé àwọn nǹkan tí wọ́n fi ń dábẹ́ yìí wọ́n kàn lè mú nǹkan kan, bóyá ó dọ̀tí o, bóyá ó mọ́ bíi bíléèdì, bí nǹkan tá a ṣáà lè fi gé nǹkan ṣá, tí wọ́n bá ti rí òun náà ni wọ́n máa ń lò.
Now let's talk about who is at risk of FGM. Yes.
Àwọn tí wọ́n tó jẹ́ wípé wọ́n lè máa ní jàǹbá nípa pé a dábẹ́ fún wọn, òun náà ni obìnrin. Nítorí pé ńgbà tí a bá dábẹ́ fún ọmọ obìnrin, àwọn jàǹbá tó lè wà ń bẹ̀ ni wípé ńgbà tá a bá mú nǹkan pé kíní ìṣáà tí ó mú, bóyá ó mọ́ o, bóyá kò mọ́ o, a fi dábẹ́ fún ọmọ obìnrin yẹn. Ó lè fa jàǹbá kòkòrò àrùn sí ọmọ obìnrin yẹn lára. Kòkòrò àrùn oríṣiríṣi bíi HIV, bíi AIDS. Ìgbà míì ńgbà tí wọ́n bá dábẹ́ yẹn fún ọmọ obìnrin yẹn gan tán, tó jẹ́ pé ó di egbò tí wọ́n ò tún tọ́jú ẹ̀, àrùn tetanus ó tún lè wọbẹ̀, ọmọbìnrin á ṣe jàǹbá fún. Irú ọmọbìnrin bẹ́ẹ̀ tó bá ti wá kó àrùn sára, tó bá tún wá pàdé ọkùnrin tó di pé àbáṣepọ̀ wà láàrin wọn, àrùn yẹn látara ẹ̀ ó lè lọ sí ara ọkùnrin. So kò kàn kì í ṣe wípé obìnrin yẹn nìkan. Tí obìnrin yẹn bá kó àrùn karùn tó bá wá ní àṣepọ̀ àbí láti ara ẹ̀ tí ẹ̀jẹ̀ rẹ̀ dọ́dọ̀ ẹlòmíì, ó tún lè kó àrùn yẹn ran ẹlòmíì lọ́kùnrin àbí lóbìnrin.
Yes, research has shown that 3 million girls are at risk of female genital mutilation each year, and 200 million girls and women are living with FGM. Now let's talk about the physical complications following FGM.
Thank you very much. There are actually 4 different types of FGM. The very first one, which is the cutting of the clitoris, that tip, cutting of that tip, that's the very first one. Of course, will inflict pain. There's pain that is inflicted on the victim. There's also the psychological trauma that the victim goes through while that procedure is being carried out. Okay? Now, because also it's not being carried out in most times, not in, some hygienic conditions, the victim may bleed and may result into death. We've also talked about the issues of infections, that can get, that the victim can contract while the procedure is being carried out. Now, there's another type. I said there are 4 types. The second type is just the cutting of the clitoris and maybe the labia minora, and of course the lady is exposed to the same risk. The third one, which is, it may or may not involve the cutting of the clitoris, but will involve the stitching up of the labia majora and then leaving just a little hole through which urine will pass through or blood can flow through when the lady is in a menstrual period. And we realize that usually the hole that is left is not wide enough many times. And so you realize that a lot of times urine is trapped And when urine is trapped, of course, the female, the woman, the victim stands the risk of infections again. And of course, during the menstrual flow, if the blood also does not pass freely, the woman also stands the risk of being infected, which is not just the external genitals now. The risk of having, the internal reproductive organs, even, having them to be at risk is also very high. Now, when that portion is being stitched up, when the lady gets to the age where they feel, okay, you're mature enough now to be able to get married, the lady is taken through another procedure that is called de-infibulation, which is the opening up of the place that's been stitched. So you can imagine the trauma, the pain, the agony. Why do I have to go through all this? And in the process of doing that, again, contaminations, infections can happen, and sometimes bleeding to death can also occur. Sometimes, of course, it's not done properly, and then the opening, it may lead to some other complications where the woman is not even able to retain urine anymore. So these are some of the complications that go alongside FGM.
The theme this year is Unleash Youth Power. Do you think we have youth who can actually, become champions in this advocacy of ending FGM in this generation? Do you think we have youth who are up to the task?
Yes, I believe that we do have you and I are still youth. We're still youthful in mind and all, and so one of the major things that we're focused on during the course of the week was to go to schools, to speak to children who are growing up, to let them understand, and then carrying out the advocacy by also engaging lots of young men and women to be able to, speak. Because once the youth understand the implications of a thing, then, you can trust that they will be at the forefront of ensuring that whatever it is, it's an advocacy. They want to go all out to ensure that, what they stand for is being brought to the fore. So I believe that, we have all it takes. We have all it takes.
What was your experience like on Wednesday when you had to engage secondary school students, especially girls? Did you actually encounter experience like some girls hearing FGM for the first time? Because I've come to observe that some girls do not even know if they're mutilated or not. So sometimes they feel it's just normal. So did you encounter some girls who share the experience and say, well, this is the first time I'm hearing this? Or, well, some girls who have heard it before but didn't really know the complications associated with FGM? What was the experience like on Wednesday?
Thank you very much. We had a few experiences. Some of the reports, there was one who said to us that one of the girls was asking to know if FGM would cause menstrual pain. She wanted to find out. But one of the things that we realized was that a lot of the students knew about FGM, that it was not a new thing to many of them. They were already aware, but some of them didn't know the extent of the implications of FGM. So the advocacy visits, a lot of questions were asked. They wanted to know they wanted to know how to find out if they had been mutilated or not. And I believe that is also part of the reasons why you have proper education and enlightenment going on. That when you have a child, of course, you have age appropriate series that you can take children through for sex education, where they know about the parts of their body. So when a child knows that, one of the things that we say, if a child discovers that's been done to them, they have a right to be able to ask their parents. They can ask their parents, even if they're not sure whether it's been done or not.
All right, let me say a big thank you for having you on this part of the program. Thank you so much, Mrs. Oluwatoyin Ogedengbe. She is a member of the CPN, that's a Child Protection Network, Oyo State chapter. Yes, I'll take a break on the show. When I come back, I have a conversation with Gabonese artist called Owato and her daughter, Kantia. Yes, we had a conversation regarding a sound installation which composed of an audio recording of 1,000 voices. When I say 1,000 voices, 1,000 voices of FGM survivors. Well, you will have the opportunity to listen to my conversation with them. I'll take a break and I'll be back on the program, Leading Women, right here on Splash 105.5 FM. Yes, you're still listening to Leading Women right here on Splash 105.5 FM. What is 1,000 Voices?
1,000 Voices is a sound installation composed of hundreds of testimony of survivors or victims of the female genital mutilation. And it has been a collaboration with my daughter, Katia Berger, who is the producer of documentary.
Okay, I read that 1,000 Voices is part 2 of one of your projects called The Flower. Now tell me about the Flower project and the reason behind this project, and then the connection of the Flower and the 1,000 Voices project.
I will say it's a very good question. Thank you for asking. I started the project 5 years ago, I think, and it all happened when I discovered some old photographs in the belonging of my family, my dad and mom. And those photographs were capturing a ceremony of circumcision. And I was very disturbed by the photography, so I put them back in what I called the forgotten drawer. I really didn't want to look at it, but somehow a few days later I came back to them and I decided to look on Google, and it's how I saw really the magnitude of the issue worldwide. And I realized that as an artist I had a duty, I had a call, a sense of mission to go ahead with dealing with the photography as a document, as the base, the archive, but as well in order to convey the desire or the want about changes in the culture. It was very important to create the flower, the sculpture of the flower, to show the blooming of women as a metaphor. And the connection with the sound.
Yes, the connection with the
realization that this is a contemporary issue, because the photograph from the past, we're talking about the past, as well, it was a scene reproducing, capturing circumcision in Africa. And as I went into Google and I realized it is a worldwide issue, came the desire or the want to start the interviews with the survivor, with the victim of female genital mutilation. It's when then Katia went into play a very important role, and I think Katia, all right.
Now, how was it like getting all these voices together? What was your experience like in getting all these voices together? And tell me how you felt when survivors decided to share their story of female genital mutilation with you.
Well, we started interviewing a lady from the Daudi Bora community, Indian origin, and actually the interview happened in the suburb of New York, and I felt actually it was right to listen and not to see, which was a kind of a contradiction with the flower photograph, because there was a kind of, it was much more intimate and much more poignant to hear the hearing of what will become a symphony of voices. Would become a weapon for change. We use that expression because I think it's very right. It's a kind of a soft protest, which is now helping, since it's going to be heard. I think it's going to be heard in 13 schools in Nigeria. I think it's really a very important medium to involve art and activism in that way.
Now, at what point did you actually develop the interest in women and their rights, and why?
Well, I always have had that calling, and probably even more now, getting older. There is more of a sense of duty, responsibility that we have in that world to play our part to improve, and the cultural element being the female genital mutilation being a cultural issue, a cultural and social issue, it became completely obvious to me that I had to be part of the changes. And I think what is interesting about the 1,000 Voices is really that we are hearing the voices of hundreds of women who have broken the silence. And that's what it is about.
Now, why the interest in women and their rights?
Well, because I think women need to be heard. We know that the patriarchy is still very much, and more women will break the silence, or more women will be empowered, more we will create a future where females have their role in society and not just staying quiet at home. I think it was very important to talk about the right of women, and more when we are talking about a violent act of the cutting.
Now, how do you think arts can work for awareness and advocacy for female genital mutilation?
Well, art is definitely today the contemporary art mostly is really a window that will allow changes in society. But as well as we are doing today with Katia, it is involved with activism. It's art that doesn't deal with the decoration in the beautiful home, which is lovely to have, but it has to do with an art that is going to touch the soul and create a change of consciousness. So I think it's extremely important.
Owato, do you think advocates are doing enough in the area of advocacy and creating more awareness on the need to stop female genital mutilation all over the world?
Well, I think they are doing a lot, actually. We've been in touch with people, many people at grassroots level, and I really think they are really doing a lot. More has to be done, and many more voices have to be heard, and many more action have to be taken. But yes, I think a lot is being done. I don't know what would be the opinion of Katia on that matter.
All right, Katia.
It's
Katia, my question to you is this. I'm still going to ask you about advocates doing a lot, and do you think advocates are actually doing a lot on this area? As an independent documentary filmmaker and contemporary art producer, how does it feel to work and produce your mom on this project?
So you're talking about the mother-daughter relationship?
Yes.
It's a great question because mothers and daughters have to speak to each other, especially when it comes to female genital mutilation / cutting. Mothers have to talk to their daughters, and more importantly, daughters must talk to their mothers. To give you an example, one of our collaborators, her name is Elizabeth, and she's a young Maasai girl. And she was the first in her community in Kenya to not go through the cut and to have an education, while her mother was actually the village cutter, precisely because she was brave enough to confront her mother. And she said, and I quote, she said, "Mummy, if you love me, please don't cut me." That prevented her from being cut, and that also allowed her mother to abandon the practice altogether. So I think it's extremely important, whether girls learn about FGM in school, whether mothers are educated in some way, they have to talk to each other in order to put this to an end.
Fantastic. Thanks for sharing that story. It's a great one. I don't know how it feels to actually be a daughter to a cutter. Oh, wow. Now, why a sound installation as opposed to a documentary?
Well, it's interesting you asked that because we had originally set out to actually make a contemporary art documentary about this issue. But then meeting with women, meeting in their homes, speaking to them, we realized that they didn't want to be seen, that they were very willing to share their stories, to share their names, but they didn't want to be seen. And that was a safety matter because women are in danger if they share this story. It's a very taboo subject. They're socially exiled from their communities if they speak about this openly. And then we thought, what better, it would be so bold and powerful to use sound as a medium to break their silence. So we very quickly moved from the documentary idea to the sound idea purely because this was a medium that just on its own would be a symbol and it would be powerful in itself.
Wow, very nice. Now, why is 1,000 Voices important for the future of girls and women globally?
I think it's important because what we wanted to do with 1,000 Voices is create a platform where women from all over the world, from different religious cultures, countries, could come together and break their silence and be united and say no more. And I think it encourages women and girls who listen to 1,000 Voices to have the courage to speak out, to say no. And at the same time, I think through the awareness that we're raising, whether it's allowing schools to listen to an extract and for a conversation to be had with students and teachers, or whether it's an exhibition in a museum, in a center of culture and education and knowledge, people come together. It's students, it's teachers, it's culture seekers. They come together and they have a conversation, and it's through this conversation that we can come to a sustainable solution where we can bring an end to FGM while respecting the culture, but also preserving the well-being of women.
Now, what kind of impact do you think a project like this will have?
Well, we wish it had an impact. I mean, we wish it had a huge impact. We're doing the best that we can in the medium that we know. I think it's had an impact in the sense that one of our friends and collaborators, and actually one of the survivors in 1,000 Voices, Hoda Ali, who's from Somalia, she says that if you save one child, you save a whole generation. So even if we touch one person, one mother, one auntie, one grandmother, we save one child. And that's the work that we're trying to do. It's not the quantity of children that we're able to save, but it's being able to do something that contributes to this global change.
Now you have a new project, I don't know if it's new now, called MENA, that's MENA. Can you tell me all about this?
Oh, the MENA project.
Yes.
It's MENA stands for Middle East and North Africa. I'm working alongside 1,000 Voices. I'm working on a documentary series on Middle Eastern and North African women who are disrupting the status quo in their countries. So we basically profile a woman in different countries. We just went to Morocco to profile a woman who's an activist against sexual harassment in the street. And what we're doing is we're going to each of these countries and looking at women who are breaking stereotypes and doing something that for the betterment of their communities.
I hope you come into Nigeria soon.
We hope so, very soon.
I would love to see both of you anyway.
I've been twice in Lagos recently. You know, I exhibited at the Lagos Photo Festival actually. In 2017.
Wow.
And then I went again, and it's a lovely country.
Yes, we'll love to see you anytime soon. Thank you so much, Kenyatta and Owatu. Thank you so much for speaking with Splash FM. Now, before you go, what are your plans for the International Day on Zero Tolerance on Female Genital Mutilation?
So we are going to fly to London today, this afternoon, and on the 6th, Katia will be part of a panel in order to talk about 1,000 Voices, and I will be in the audience supporting the project and being part of the conversation.
And we're also doing an action in schools across Nigeria where we've given an educational extract of 1,000 voices to NGOs who are going to schools and can showcase the work and have a conversation with students about this very topic in order to prevent this from happening to more girls.
Thank you so much and well done.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
And that's it on today's special edition of Leading Women on Splash 105.5 FM. Unless we take up action to end female genital mutilation, another 68 million girls will have been cut by 2030. Girls are working hard for their right to remain intact. Keeping them safe will take a concerted effort involving everyone from their families to local, national, and international leaders. You too have a role to play. And with that, enjoy the curtains on today's special edition of the program Leading Women. And my name is Oluwatoyin Adepoju. A big thank you to my production assistant. My audio engineers were Victor Daudu and Tolu Olasukomi. Till I come your way next week, Saturday, with a wonderful and amazing woman. I remain yours sincerely, Oluwatoyin Adepoju. For comments, observation, you can send a mail to tito@splashfm1055.com. That's TEETOO@splashfm1055.com. Or you can send a text message or a WhatsApp message to 0805 733 5451. Bye for now.